The purpose and function of the Jacksonville Beach Special Magistrate hearing, in accordance with Florida Statutes Chapter 162 and the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinances, is to reach an equitable expedition to enforce the codes. The city presents the violation and evidence to the special magistrate. Next, the property owner is sworn in and responds to the violation and evidence. Both the city and the property owner may call witnesses to provide sworn testimony relevant to the case. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, not a public forum. Individuals not called as sworn witnesses will not be heard.
Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Flowers. I serve as Special Magistrate for the City of Jacksonville Beach. We have, I think, 5 cases on our calendar today. As the clerk just advised you, the Code Enforcement Officer will call those cases in a few moments. She will give a report on the basis of the violation, the nature of the matter, and after she's completed, and I've asked any questions that I have, you will be given an opportunity to come forward and you'll be sworn, and you can provide any evidence or testimony or exhibits that you think are relevant to the matter, and then we will proceed with resolving in one fashion or another. So with that, you want to swear the Code Enforcement Officer?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and your position.
Nikki Beavers, City of Jacks Beach Code Enforcement Officer.
Good afternoon, Ms. Beavers. Which case are we going in order today?
No, we're gonna switch A and B.
Okay.
So,
Starting with case number 22-21.
yes. This is CC Properties LLC at 118 8th Avenue North, Jacksonville Beach.
Can I ask you folks in the back if you want to converse on the outside?
Your Honor, this case was in regards to a building permit not being obtained at the time. This was a continuance back from May. And I did speak with Christian Popoli in the zoning department, and everything has been complied. The variance, they received everything. So we were just coming back in order for the contractor and the owner to let us know that they've completed everything.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name and your address.
Christine Cormack, 118 8th Avenue North, Jacksonville Beach, Florida, 32250.
Okay, Ms. Cormack, she may be able to cover all we need, but we'll see. I think the question Ms. Beavers asked is the work been completed?
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is my contractor, and what we needed was him.
Okay.
And we have had plans drawn up by a licensed architect.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the plans are in order. We have a new survey pole to show the location. And my contractor has filed everything in with the city.
Correct.
Okay. You want to state your name just so we...
John Shockey, One Call Contracting, 121 Paradise Valley.
How did you spell your last name?
Shockey, Shockey.
Okay.
Address is 121 Paradise Valley, Alameda, Florida 32081. So yes, as Chris stated, we were able to get the architectural plans. We submitted the permit application with the plans to the city last week. They have some comments that we're going to be addressing today. We actually have to pick up a package after this meeting, and there's some items that need to be addressed. But those are normal comments, and we're prepared to get that and resubmit next week.
Okay. So I think the violation was the construction without a permit. I guess what I'm hearing is the permit has not yet been issued.
No, the permit has not been issued, but it's everything that they needed to do to submit their application for the permit, and everything they needed to do through Christian, the planning and zoning department, everything is complete. So on my end, they're in compliance.
Okay. Okay. With that, then we'll
Moving on to A.
And this is case number 22-9.
Correct. Alright, as for case 2290, this was in regards to failure to maintain the grease interceptor. And I have Mr. George Breyer here, that's from the Public Works Department, who will be presenting the case.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and your position.
George Breyer, Fraud Control Coordinator for the City of Jacksonville Beach.
Mr. Breyer, you spell your name B-R-Y-E-R?
B-R-I-E-R.
B-R-Y-E-R. Okay, Mr. Breyer, go ahead and tell me what you found here.
Well, on April 20th, I inspected the grease interceptor at the Peter Pit. At that point, it should have been pumped because the last pumping was 10/20/22. We got them on a 6-month pumping schedule. I informed the general manager, Lucas, that the trap needed to be pumped. She said she would let the owner know. On 5/3/22, I got a letter from the pumping company stating that the grease interceptor had not been pumped.
Can you stop just a second? What was the date you got that?
5/3/22.
And that contractor is the contractor?
Dog Pro Industries is the contractor that serviced the grease interceptor. Yes, sir.
And that contractor advised you that the trap had not been pumped out?
That's correct.
Go ahead.
So on 5/7/22, myself and Philip Brown went back to Peter Pit. We spoke to the owner at that time and told her that the trap hadn't been serviced and that Dog Pro said they wasn't going to come out and service it. At that point, she stated that she would get everything straightened out. Myself and Philip Brown left. On 5/17/22, I inspected the grease interceptor again, and it was still in compliance, still out of compliance, still out of compliance. So I went back on 8/1/22. I spoke to Rayanne again. I told her that it was out of compliance and it needed to be serviced. At that point, she said she had spoken to the owner and they were going to have it pumped. It hadn't been pumped. It was serviced on 8/9. No, excuse me. Yes, it was serviced on 8/9/22, and now they are in compliance.
Is anyone here from Peter Pit?
So basically, from the time they were first inspected, it's taken April, May, June, July, August, September. For 4 months since you inspected, which was 6 months past when it was supposed to be serviced.
4 months past when it was supposed to be serviced.
All right. Anything else? You'll get a chance. Just give me a second.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I'll go ahead and let them speak and then
Okay.
that's it.
Right. I just want to make sure Mr.
Okay.
Breyer didn't have anything else before I proceeded. Okay, you folks want to raise your right hands and be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
Please state your name and your address.
My name is Anthony Jujitski.
How do you spell your last name,
It's
sir?
D as in dog, Z as in zebra, I-E, D as in dog, Z as in zebra,
I'm sorry. Slow it one more time. I apologize.
D-Z, I-E-D, Z-I-C-K-I. This is my wife Christina.
Okay.
We're the owners of Peter Pit at 500 First Street North here in Jacksonville Beach.
Okay. Mr. Dushinsky? Is that?
Jujitski.
Okay. I apologize.
No problem. Everybody
What do you want to tell me?
informed back in May that, the grease trap was coming up due for service. So my wife called the company. We were told that we would be put on their schedule the following week. And then Mr. Breyer contacts them and says that they are not servicing our location because they didn't have a service agreement with us.
Hold on a second. Mr. Breyer said they couldn't service.
That's the information.
Mr. Breyer had relayed to me on August 1st that he was told in May that they would not be servicing us due to not having a service agreement, which was correct. I had not signed a service agreement, so when I had called them back in June, he said, hey, you don't have a service agreement with us, we need to re-sign it because our rates went up, which I have the service agreement that was signed June 28th. I have an email from Patrick Scanlon II, who works for Darpro. He, in fact, said, you'll be on the schedule for next week. They did not come out. I emailed them again. They did not come out. Then when I emailed them again, after Mr. Breyer had appeared at the store on August 1st, then telling me that they had said that they weren't going to pump us, he gave me another set of phone numbers to go ahead and try to call to get out of the agreement, to get a new contracted person. But then that's when Darpro, after Mr. Breyer was given all of these emails going back to June with Patrick Scanlon, saying that they were supposed to be coming, they were supposed to be coming, they were supposed to be coming. And that's when they actually came on.
So, Your Honor, I also looked at, we were told by Mr. Breyer that we have until the middle of August to get this rectified. So, he had already scheduled this hearing back in June. So, I guess my question to Mr. Breyer was that a true statement you told my wife?
I've never spoke to you.
Never spoke to my wife.
I've never spoke to you.
Well, sir, I got to speak with my wife every night coming home from work.
Okay, hold on a second. We're going to go one at a time. We're not going to do crosstalk. You're saying, when did you understand that you were supposed to be pumped out?
As soon as possible. Your
No,
Honor.
no, no. What was the date? When was your 6-month drop dead date?
My drop date was April 29th. Or 26th, sorry.
24th?
6.
26th.
Sorry. His last pump was 10/26/21.
And when did, tell me again the name of your contractor?
It's Darpro, Darpro.
Could you say that one more time?
D as in dog.
Darpro?
Yes, Darpro.
And when did you first contact Darpro about it?
In May, it was a phone call, and she said they would be coming out. At that point, I did not know, because per their agreement, it's initially signed for a 12-month period, and then after the initial expiration date, it continues to renew unless you have given them written notice of 60 days. I never gave a written notice saying I didn't need them anymore, so I was assuming that they would keep coming. Then when I called in May, she said that they'd be out. They didn't come, which is when Mr. Breyer came back and said, hey, you're not in compliance again. And that's when I got in touch with Patrick, who sent me the new agreement with the new rates. And he's like, yeah, sorry about that. Our rates went up due to gas rates and everything. I have the new agreement that was signed.
When did you sign the new agreement?
This is the new one was signed, Your Honor, on 6/28/9/24 p.m. or a.m., excuse me.
6/28/2022.
Correct. And that's after email conversations between the company trying to get this on the counter, on their counter.
And then I had a follow-up email where Patrick's like, on July 6th, I emailed him, I wanted to check on the schedule of it because it had already been done. He goes, thanks for your patience, and he told us location's going to be done next week. That was July 6th, July 29th. After no response, hey, do you know if they're going to pump the grease trap? Mr. Breyer says he's been there on the 17th and it hasn't been done yet. He's returning on Tuesday. He ended up coming on Monday, the 1st of August there. And that's when I was told that they had previously told him they were not going to be servicing us, which is crazy because, and I have the list of the phone numbers that he gave me to go and try and find a new one, but I'm already in an agreement with this one. But then they ended up coming 8 days later.
So when, again, when do they actually come out and mop it out?
August 9th,
August 9th.
after, I'm trying to get them up.
Okay, Mr. Breyer, anything you want to say?
Yes, Your Honor, I was never informed except on August 1st that these emails and correspondence had gone about with each other. And I made conversation with her on May 5th. They didn't have it pumped until August 9th. Now, in between time, came back, hadn't been pumped, it hadn't been serviced. I spoke to the general manager. Okay, I'll get in contact with them. And the whole time this has been going on, she's discharging food particles and heavy material into the sewer system. So, I mean, there are several different pumping companies. I gave her a list of pumping companies. If this isn't working for you, try someone else. I don't know what else I could have done to help her get over this. Dark Pro is one of maybe a half dozen pumping companies that service Jacksonville Beach.
Okay. Ms. Beavers, what is the city asking for here? I said we're in compliance at this point. So
Yes.
what are you?
What we're asking for, Your Honor, is for them to stay in compliance, contact a pumping company 30 days prior to the next pumping due so that we don't have to go through this again.
All right. You folks want anything further? What I would do is enter an order finding that you're now in compliance and just saying you will remain in compliance.
No, Your Honor, we're being on your calendar today.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Barr?
So I do have a question.
Yeah.
Being that they stated that they are in a contract now?
Yes.
Okay. So are your pumpings already on a schedule now?
It'll be
for
every
the-
6 months, yes.
Okay, so, because I know in the
on
order we
your
were
current
asking
contract,
30
you should
days.
have another pump before you got to sign another contract.
Yes, Your Honor. And even the contract itself, the contract language actually self-renews on page 2 of the contract. Again, without written notice from us canceling it, it'll automatically.
I hate those kind of contracts, but it's probably a good idea in this case.
Yes.
But at least they will know in advance when the next pumping is scheduled for. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barr.
You say.
Okay. Moving on to case 2222. This is Mandarin Management Systems at 624 North 6th Avenue.
Mr. Palmieri.
Huh?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's the way I saw it.
Okay, this case is also, a continuance, for not having a building permit, for work done. I did speak with our building official, Clark Stuck, who was at our last hearing. The permit application was received on August 9th, and now they are just waiting on the plan review to be completed. The building official, the building official, Clark Stuck, has been in contact with the contractor, Mitch McHugh, and he's just waiting on Mr. McHugh to submit a few more items.
And I recall last time, one of the things that was maybe just getting in place was having a general contractor to come in and take responsibility for the
Correct.
operation. So that obviously has been done.
Everything is being
So what
put in
do we
place.
want to do at this point?
We're gonna do a continuance for another 30 days, to see what else the contractor, needs to do with the building official. There were a few more items as stated that he needed to submit to the building official. But, Clark recommended that another 30 days would be sufficient for them to get everything completed.
Okay, you want to, we need to swear you in first, Ms. Palmieri.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and your address.
Ronald Palomir. My home address is 13690 Long's Landing Road West, Jacksonville, 32225.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Palmieri, you've heard what Ms. Beavers had to say.
Thanks. On my last appearance on July 27th, I was told that it was necessary that I hire a licensed general contractor to draw permits to resolve outstanding issues with this particular property. It was on July 27th. And if I can indulge the court, just to give you a timeline that I've documented, which is factual. On July 28th, the following day, I contacted McHugh General Contractors and hired McHugh General Contractors to do whatever is necessary to obtain the necessary permits, resolve any outstanding issues without regard to any reservations. That was on July 28th. Mr. McHugh's office contacted the compliance office, City of Jacksonville office here, requesting a meeting with Mr. Stuck. Yes. The earliest time that they could schedule that meeting was August the 3rd at 9 a.m., of which I appeared at that meeting along with Mitch McHugh, who was the principal in McHugh General Contractors, as well as Mr. Stuck. That meeting took place in the conference room of this office. The results of the meeting were that I was to sign a blank contract with McHugh Home Services to do any and all repairs necessary to come into compliance as dictated by the City of Jacksonville Beach. That Mr. McHugh was to submit a permit application to Jack's Beach ASAP. Mr. Stuck, at that point, and I quote, said that he would review that application promptly and work to commence to resolve these issues in a forthwith way. This was at the meeting on August the 3rd of this year. On August the 7th, Mr. McHugh advised me that all his permits were ready to submit. He had requested that I come into his office and make a payment of $675 to initiate his submitting those permits to the city, which I did. A copy of that check I have with me if you want to review that. On August the 8th, Mr. McHugh's office hand-carried, they hand-carried those permits to the office on August the 8th. To confirm that, I spoke to Mr. McHugh, and he verbally said, yes, they're definitely in their office. I hand-carried it promptly as the result of our meeting. On August the 9th, it was recorded by Jack's Beach that those permits had been received by Mr. McHugh, August the 9th. From August 9th to date, I have had no communication of any kind from this office of Jacksonville Beach, in writing, verbally, via telephone, via text, relative to the disposition of those permits. On August 22nd, I personally visited the office and was told that no one has gotten to even review these plans yet. They're still sitting on the plan review desk, and that with a little bit of luck, someone may get to it by the end of this week. On August 23rd, I visited Mr. McHugh at his office and asked him, as of that date, had they received any direction, any information, anything as to why the application hadn't been reviewed or approved. Mr. McHugh personally told me yesterday that they've had no communication, period, not verbally, in writing, in any capacity from this office as to any further direction relative to the permits that they applied for. I don't know if you can remember, sir, the last time I was in, I used the word frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm beyond frustrated. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a property owner. Some there's got to be some level of communication, some level of respect somewhere. And in my mind, it's not there. And I'm listening to the testimony of Ms. Beavers, where all this communication is happening between their office and Mr. McHugh. And face to face yesterday, I'm looking at him eye to eye, and he says absolutely positively, he went to his secretary. Do you know anything about anything that's holding these applications up? Have we received any communication? And I was there. She said no, absolutely nothing. So I'm at a loss. I am. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to come into compliance, sir. Once a month I'm here, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point.
Yeah. That conversation was between you and Mr. McHugh.
And the secretary in his office physically yesterday afternoon, yes, sir. And that was after I come to the office here the day before, just to confirm what is the disposition of the permits. And the answer was, they're sitting on the desk and no one has had a chance to even look at it or review with it yet.
Ms. Beavers, can you provide any?
Yeah, and as stated, that's why the building official suggested that another 30 days be given so that that would give them time to review the plans.
Well, I guess what I heard from you was that I thought the impression was that they looked at it and there was a couple of things they were going to do.
Yes, sir, that's exactly what I heard.
No. I stated that the permit application was received on August 9th, and now they're waiting on the plan review. The building official has been in contact with the contractor, Mr. McHugh, and he's just waiting on it.
But that's not true and it's not factual. Is there any evidence that you
Okay,
can
hold
offer
on.
to support that?
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're not going to get anywhere about you arguing with
I'm upset, obviously. I have a reason.
Hey, I understand. And I'm trying to get to the
Yes, sir.
bottom of it to the extent that I can.
Yes, sir, thank
I
you.
will tell you, this lady is not the person who reviews your applications, so.
But, sir, excuse me, someone told her
Correct.
that what's holding
That's
this up is...
why I asked the question. That's why I asked the question.
Thank you.
So again, I'm looking for a little clarity that,
As far as the
somebody
time
tell you that
frame,
they had reviewed it or it's.
they're waiting to be reviewed. They have not been reviewed yet. They go in line as far as other plans that have came in before his were submitted. So they're in line to be reviewed.
What is the typical time frame within which these plans are getting reviewed these days?
It depends on how large they are. If it's a large project, a small project. So the building official stated within 30 days they'll be completed. So the next hearing date is on 9/28. When we come back, everything should be completed.
Okay, Mr. Palmieri, they're gonna get one more shot.
If I may indulge the court,
Yes,
just
sir.
one question I have to ask. Is there a reason that, out of pure courtesy, I might have not been contacted either by email, by telephone, or in writing as to not the necessity of my being here today when Ms. Beavers had already suggested that they were obviously looking for another 30-day extension? Well, why am I even here today then? Why couldn't I have just been given an extension and that they're not ready to do anything and
So,
I've done everything on my part that I was supposed to do to be in compliance. I don't understand that.
so today was to make sure that the permit application had been submitted. That was the main reason why we were here, because there was no permit application that had been applied for. So now, as of August 9th, we have received that application. So that's why we're here.
Today's August 24th. That's over 2 weeks ago.
Okay, but we only have special magistrate hearings once a month.
All right, Mr. Palmieri, again, I understand your frustration. It's either gonna get resolved one way or the other between now and the end of the month. And, hopefully, if the permit gets issued, we can perhaps relieve Mr. Palmieri of having to come back.
Correct.
Is that
So,
realistic?
so you will have the option, and can I get your personal mailing address, not the address at the property?
Yeah, that's what I just gave court a while ago. 13690 Longs, Longs, Landing, Landing, Road, West, 602 area code, 540-1275.
All right. So as what I was going to state is once everything has been completed and the plan review has been done, when the following hearing is scheduled for 9/28, if everything is completed and in compliance with everything the building official needs, you won't have to return.
But let me ask this, would it be more expedient to set this for 2 months out instead of 30 days out, just to be sure that happens?
The building official, I asked him personally, and he said just extend it 30 days. So it should be within the next week. But I think you said you spoke with someone and they stated that it would be done this week.
They said they're hoping that someone in the office would have a chance to look at it within another week.
Okay.
To look at the permit application.
You can just give me a call. I would say by the end of next week. And if you haven't heard anything from Clark or from Chandra, I can follow up and give you the information and let you know if it's been completed as far as the plan review.
Okay. Is there a number?
Yes.
Thank you.
247-6284.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you again, Mr. Palmieri.
Thank you, sir.
I understand your frustration.
Okay.
Next case.
We are moving on to case number 2215. This is at 947 17th Avenue South. This is a nuisance violation for overgrowth, accumulation of trash and debris, and any condition which provides harborage of rats, mice, snakes, and other vermin. As you can see in the case, on the picture, back in March of 2022, and this has been a property that has had several nuisance cases for quite some time now, prior to this one in March. But as you can see, there's a lot of debris and everything in the driveway area. There's overgrowth. My other inspections, this was back in May. There's a dumpster now, there's a tent, other things that have been added to the property. This is my pictures from yesterday. This was for August. As you can see, there's more items in the driveway. The dumpster is full. I did make contact with the property owner. The property has changed owners since the initial case was started in May, and that was with the previous owner, and that's when she told me she had sold the property to her supervisor, Daniel Romano. I spoke with them both yesterday. They are in the process of renovating the property. She stated that the dumpster, well, Mr. Romano stated that the dumpster would be dumped. It had been dumped and removed once, and now the property is still being renovated. There was no active permits, and when I spoke with the building official, Clark Stuck, he stated to me that they can tear everything down and they're not required to get the permit until they start back renovating to replace the items that they were taking out. So, like I said,
Who received the notice of this hearing?
both of them did. Mhm. And they told me yesterday they were gonna be here, and,
Well, that's-
Oh, okay.
I told
Looks
her,
like might be Mr.
are you Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Okay, you can come on.
Come up, Mr. Romano. You want to swear?
Please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name and your address.
Daniel Romano,
Mr. Romano, or you, go ahead, say your address first, I'm sorry.
my personal address or,
Your business address.
well, my personal address is 1188 12th Street North, Jax Beach, Florida. The address of this property is 947 17th Avenue North.
And are you the owner of this property?
Yes.
When did you acquire ownership?
I acquired ownership April, I don't know the exact date, but it was the beginning of April. And I didn't know there was a violation at that point in time on the property. I'm in the middle of cleaning the property up, because so far we've gotten 7 dumpsters out of there. And I think we have probably 3 or 4 more to go, truthfully.
How long do you think it's gonna take you to finish?
I'm
Just so-
hoping
to where there's nothing
cleaned
out
up.
in the yard.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be cleaned up by the end of next weekend. Everything out of the yard, the trees off the house, cut down, grass mowed, the whole 9 yards. Because it needs to be presentable, and as well as, you know, rats and all this stuff I don't want going into the house. Sure.
Anything else?
No, not as far as that.
What's your recommendations, Stevers?
My recommendation, we come back September 28th. Mr. Romano just stated that by the weekend, you'll have everything cleaned up.
By the end of next weekend, I'll have.
Okay. If he can just contact me once everything has been cleaned up, that way I can come and do a follow-up inspection and comply the case, and then when we come back on the 28th, if it's complied, you wouldn't have to, unless you
Just
wanted
so-
to. And that's pretty much it. From now until then, just to maintain the property, keep the grass mowed and the debris out of the, you know, public view.
I understand that.
So
I don't know if the properties in Jack Creek said no to me.
So I'll enter an order, essentially, finding that there is a nuisance, but it's, 30 days to finish cleaning it up. And if it is, you'll be in compliance then, and this will be over. And like Ms. Beaver said, if you communicate with her, she can come out and look and see that it's done next week or anytime before, the September 28th. The earlier the better, but,
Trust me,
you won't need to come back.
I've tried to get this has been 4 months, I've tried to get her to get all her stuff
Sure.
out. And now I've gone to the point where I told her I just have to start throwing her away.
I do have one other recommendation, and I think I spoke to you about it. Any of the notices that I have sent, they're all going to this address. So on the tax collector's website, you might want to contact them so that
Take my address.
so that any mail will come to you. It'll still list that property, but any of the mail for you being the owner,
Yeah.
it'll come to you.
Okay.
So, but I just wrote down also what your mailing address is, so when we get ready to send the order out, I have the correct address.
Perfect.
And this is in Jack's Beach, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Romano. Thank you for getting this cleared up.
Sorry. Thank you.
Alrighty, and that concludes all the cases I have for today.
Still got one more.
Wait, oh, I'm sorry.
2-73.
Yes. I gotta have 7 days. Yes, this is for case number 2273, 2007 Eastern Drive. This is in regards to a fence that was located in the rear yard that was over 6 feet in height. It did not have the required airflow. As you can see, my initial inspection was on July 20 of 2022. The top part of the fence.
But just in July.
Yes.
Do you know what the date was?
I don't have the
I believe the
exact.
photo says.
Oh, yeah, it is the
I think it's,
July
July 28th.
28 or 25.
July 28th?
Yes.
Yeah. Forgot I had big stamp photos. So as you can see, the fence, the shorter fence is a 6-foot fence, and the fence in the rear, which belongs to Mr. Kinsey, does not have the required airflow for the remaining 2 feet from 6 to 8 feet. As of August, yesterday, on Tuesday of this week, I went by there to get access to take pictures. It was raining really bad. No one answered the door, so I took pictures from the neighbor's property. And then Miss Erica Kinsey had also sent her own photos. So the photo that you see on the left is the one that I took, and the photo on the right is the one that Ms. Kinsey, sent, and as you can see, they have since complied and, put up the required airflow on the remaining 2 feet of the fence.
Anything else?
No.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. David Wayner on behalf of my clients, Mitchell and Aaron McKenzie.
How do you spell your last name?
It's Wainer.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand.
I'm not going to be testifying. It'll be them testifying. If anybody's testifying, I just.
I don't know if anybody's going to need to. That's
Correct. That's, I guess my question to you, it'll probably bounce back to Ms. Beavers, is, are my clients in compliance such that we're good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'll enter an order to that effect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry you had to wait.
Things are break.
It was interesting.
Okay. Nothing
All right,
else.
thank you.
It's interesting. Thank you. Is that all we have?
Yes, now that concludes all my cases for today. I thought they were all together with the other guy. Okay. All right.
All right, we'll adjourn.